So I got a text from Nora as I was driving over here that I think her sciatica, she's in a lot of pain and she just couldn't make it and sends her regrets. So on my way to pick up Joe, I said, hey, dig in your stash, you're bringing 5 quilts, you're a speaker tonight. And she said, okay. And then she wrote up her bio for me. I'm just so pushy. Jo started quilting classes around 2004. She dabbled with sampler blocks and taking technique classes. She made her first quilt in 2010 and joined a quilt guild in late 2010 after retiring. Pennsylvania, loose threads. Oh, that word retire, the gnarly way.
You're kind of fast.
I know. She kept trying different techniques and experimenting. She moved to Florida in 2016 and she joined Racing Fingers, which we're really glad to have her here. She joined Memory Makers in Benel and she was president of Memory Makers for 3 years. Ooh, that's good to know. Thanks to the UFO program, started to finish some old and new quilts. Some just drop off piles of stuff, and that's what I work on. Oh, so some of the projects just dropped off and you said, okay, I'll do that one. Yep. It's working. Thanks, Aurora. So Jo's going to show her quilts, and we really thank her for stepping up.
Such short notice, I don't have time to be nervous. Well, I started out, actually how I started with I was not a quilter. Okay, I started out like most of us did with home ec and your mom teaching you how to sew. You made an apron and a skirt and that was it. And I made a lot of my school clothes in high school. So I didn't know anything about quilting. So after I was working for a while and I gathered some friends and they said, why don't you try quilting? And I said, why does anyone want to take a beautiful piece of fabric, cut it up into small pieces and sew it back together? I said, that doesn't make any sense to me. So I had 2 friends. They said, well, there's a local quilt shop up near where you live, so why don't we join it? And they have a block of the month. We'll teach ourselves how to quilt. I said, okay. So 2 friends and I go, well, yeah, it's a block of the month, but they don't teach you how to put it together. They just hand you the package and you go home and you make it. Well, all of us coming from sewing, none of our points would match up and we couldn't figure out why. So another friend of mine, Marion, said, you need to take a quilt class. So I said, well, when am I going to do that? I'm working, I'm traveling the countryside, I'm working, and I travel 2 or 3 weeks out of every month. And when do I have time to take a class? So I eventually scheduled it into my schedule. And when travel came up, I said, no, I can't go. That's it. This takes priority this year. So I took 2 quilting classes from a lady named Linda Hahn, who I believe now lives in North Carolina. And does she live?
Linda Hahns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Last time
There's 2 Linda Hahns.
Oh, are there?
Yeah.
and so I think she's in North Carolina.
Okay, good for you.
But anyway, I learned a lot, and I then told my friends, well, this is why our points weren't matching up, and tried to teach them, but they quit. Marion kept on encouraging me more and more and more, and another friend of mine, Claire, whom most of you know, she was saying, yeah, you should try this, and she would take quilting classes and show me what she did, and she didn't think that was quilting. She made a couple of jackets, which she gave to me. And so from that, Marion and
schedule the other class. So in that time, I'm also like a technique person. I like to learn different types of techniques, so I would take different classes on various techniques. And I was telling you last month, but I'm kind of like a dog with squirrels. You know, I see something I'm interested in, there I go. So a lot of things just piled up.
I don't know anybody like that.
This is one of the first ones that I made. It was
Joe, Mike.
This is one of the first quilts that I made. It was a mystery quilt given by the local quilt shop. And it's called Undercover in Houston. How they get that name, I have no idea.
That's a cool pattern. Very cool. And the colors are striking.
Or you send it out? Oh, no, I quilt by check mostly.
Like Mindy employed.
Yes, we have to keep Mindy employed. This next quilt, I made this for my husband. He loves cardinals, and there's a story that goes with that too. Is in Pennsylvania, he would go out and put fill up the bird feeder every morning. Well, once in a while it would get empty, and we had this cardinal. With his claws, he would hold onto the screen and look into the dining room window and peck on the window and say, "Hey, the feeder's empty." And if he didn't see my husband in the dining room, he would go around to the side of the house where we had two windows to the basement. If the light was on there, he would go there and throw his body against the window to get his attention. So I said, well, I have to make this quilt. Well, the technique in this one, it looks like there's a lot of half-square triangles. Well, this one used striped material, and it was how you cut you would place your square on it and cut a diagonal so that you'd have the colors on either side of the halfway mark. So it's really a very interesting technique, but I think just sewing the half-square triangles is a lot easier.
Very beautiful.
Now, was that up north or here? In Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania. Now, this quilt's the little tabletop where I started in, I think that was 2013 when I made that one. This one I started in I think I started in 2010, and my sewing room is a mess. It will never be organized. I try and try and try, but it will never be. And this fell out of a pile of stuff that needed to be finished. Thank God for the UFO thing. I finally finished it this year. That is gorgeous.
And then she learned how to upload all of her pictures on group work.
I like doing that because then you can see what everybody else is working on.
I encourage you all to, and if you don't know how, contact Linda.
I don't know when I started this one. It was Hunter's Square. I think it was a pattern called Tsunami, and it works with the Bev Tucker rulers. And I started a long time ago, and it was just sitting around, and someone, on one of the free tables, someone was giving away some Minky, and I put Minky on the back, and then I just recently finished this one also. This is another Minky. Some of us took a class, and I don't remember the lady's name, Mindy's friend. It's called Patty Hellengren, and the pattern is called Jumping Jacks. So I finally finished that. It's finished, and it's minky on the back, and I folded the minky over. I cut it 2 inches beyond the quilt, and then I just folded it over and sewed it to the front.
Do you do your own quilts?
No. No, this was done by a sewing quilt. So that's my story, and keep them going. Oh, it's really
Is there
nice.
padding in it, or is it just the Mickey?
Just a Mickey. No.
Just the Mickey, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice and lightweight.
That's
No, one more.
Oh, one more, we can't count.